Hi, I'm Simon from Aephoria.
I'm Julia. Hi.
So we're going to talk about clients at the performing level of maturity. So what's the feel, what's the vibe of coaching clients at performing level for you?
I think I would look for two big signifiers. The one is a sense of confidence. You know, they've done stuff in their life, they've achieved things, they have a sense of being competent, being able to get the will to deliver what they want. A sense of responsibility for their lives.
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah.
Sometimes overly, I
Yeah.
find. So it can often feel like they're responsible for everything. At home, at work, in community, in family, in extended family.
Yeah.
It's a big field of the burden of responsibility.
Yeah.
Like, if I don't do it, then nobody will.
Yeah.
In that sense, which comes, like, I suppose, from the feelings of effectiveness at this level as well. I mean, people are effective.
They are. And I would also look for, I always look to see who's directing the coaching session. So people at conforming and even specializing are waiting for you to kind of come in as the expert.
Yes.
Not at this later stage. Here, people are wanting to go and control their life. They've got their agenda. They've got what they want to work on.
They're more directional around the work.
Yeah, they probably know. They can know more of what they want to do.
Yeah.
But I suppose it would vary from person to person.
Totally. But I do think also there's a general hunger for growth and development at the performing level, and a desire to do this kind of work. I find often at this level it's the coachee themselves who have procured the work. They've said, well, I want to coach, it's now time for me to do some of my own inner work. I want that developmental opportunity. I want to coach. So there's definitely, I think, less resistance, perhaps, if we're talking general terms around that, than maybe some of the earlier levels. These guys want the feedback. They want the pushing, I think, as well. And so I suppose the coach can be a bit more direct.
Yeah, and sort of linked to that is capacity to kind of handle negative feedback more easily because they have achieved some things in life.
Yeah.
Have a sense of confidence. One small area of less performance is not going to floor them. They may not be able. They may not have to defend themselves.
Yeah. Feedback vital for growth. Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of the language, so if you had no assessment. And you were to think about some tips and pointers around the language that might signify, I'm with a performing level kind of person, client here.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of use of kind of pat phrases, often related to the organization that they're working in. So there might be kind of a way of saying that this is the conversation that needs to be had, or let's go for the low-hanging fruit, or pat phrases that signal they're successful in a system.
So that's different to the conforming pat phrases, which are more cliches around life. It is what it is. So the performing level, it's perhaps more organisationally orientated or contextual. Perhaps it's more contextual.
Yeah.
Their use of
It's a different feel. It's more sophisticated.
Yeah.
Simon, how would you work with people at this level of maturity?
I think, as with all the stages, it's about affirming where they are first and foremost. This is a really, really empowered stage, is how I would describe it. And so to reinforce the fact that they're probably seeing themselves as being quite effective in the world, doing well, and yet there's always something about the performing level which is what got you here might not get you there. And the idea of being able to further expand their identity, expand their opportunities for growth, their ways of being in the world. Because I think with the performing level, you know, often society sets up performing as being the finishing line, certainly in terms of conventional success. And so I do think that there's something about challenging their versions of success, their versions of themselves, always keeping the window open for much more growth to come. So this isn't the finishing line. There's so much more you can do with your life and with yourself. Yeah, so I'd definitely be looking at that, looking at the post-conventional reality that is just around the corner, should they want it.
Yeah. So to do that, would you be kind of helping them explore their feelings, their inner worlds, sensations, maybe kind of inviting them to new kinds of experiences?
Yeah, I think definitely sort of more embodied experiences, physical experiences, maybe even one or two spiritual experiences at this point might land quite nicely as a way of somebody who is very growth orientated, exploring how else life can look, I suppose, because I think that there's something also about challenging where they've got to and their version of success. So the version of success is now that they're sitting in a particular role in a particular organisation, and they might have got there and might be feeling a little bit, or what's next, or this isn't quite feeling how I thought it would feel. And so just giving that possibility of something else emerging at some point.
Is that towards the sort of end of this patch of level of maturity?
Yeah.
In the beginning you feel quite confident, and then you wonder what's coming, and then not so sure of your world, and then you start to question what really is going to make you happy, or what's going to be meaningful in life. The other thing that is interesting to explore with these guys might be, so a lot of them have got very strong stories about how the world works, and quite certain that they know how it works. And so something about being open to different perspectives, and maybe different perspectives that come from people who are not maybe performing in the same way. You know, like different insights from different kinds of people to provide a broader range of perspectives.
Yeah, I think it's interesting at performing this idea of collaboration and participation. So you get leaders and managers at this level who think that they're very participative and are wanting to get other perspectives and the input from other people. When you dig a little deeper sometimes, I think there's still quite a rigid and structured view of the world, in the sense of, look, I am effective and I know how things need to roll. I'm going to ask people their opinions, but actually I'm just going through the motions of asking people their opinions, and I'm looking for confirming data of how I'm going to do it, because I do feel so effective in the world. So
my way is the right way.
Exactly. There's still a little bit of that, you know, maybe a little bit brought in from the specialising level as well. It's still there. And so multiple perspectives might be seen, but I would perhaps challenge how much they're valued and how much they're taken in and worked with by somebody at the performing level. So I think that's a really good thing for a coach to do, is just to mine that kind of relationship with other perspectives.
Yeah, bring them in.
Yeah.
And I suppose kind of through that, start exploring what success really means for that person in life. You know, is success a big bonus, or is success a happy family? You know, what is success?
Yeah. And then I think, just linked to that point that we just talked about around responsibility, one of the things that I find is very impactful when coaching people at the performing level is to challenge that a little bit. So do you need to be responsible for as much as you are taking responsibility for? Because I think sometimes when we take responsibility, we take away responsibility from other people. And so to discuss and explore a little bit that notion of disempowering people. So when you feel this effective in the world, are you then taking stuff away from other people who should be doing the job?
Yeah.
Because you think that only you can do the job.
Yeah. Or you can do it quicker than everyone else. It's kind of like infantilizing others.
Yeah.
Turning them into children.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which isn't helpful, because I guess in the existential sense, we all are responsible for our own lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
And then I think continuing to mind the emotions, bring them up again and again and again, because emotions, this is the first stage really where people are working with emotions quite actively. And so to continue to support that work, because that actually is the developmental work that will push them into the next level of development. It's a much fuller emotional landscape. And so I think to keep on that with them, with the client, what was going on inside you there? What were the emotions coming up? Can you name them? What happens when you name them? And be very active around them.
Yeah, or sort of what are parts of you that you left behind? Like what happened to your playfulness, your creativity, your vulnerability? What happened to your self-doubt? What happened to your grief? All the stuff that doesn't kind of come in, but once more fully integrated can help one mature.
The parts of themselves that they had to cut off to be this successful, perhaps. The parts they had to forget.
Yeah, the parts their parents didn't want them to have.
Yeah. And then there's a sort of final piece around, I think the shifting time horizons here are really important. So as people grow and develop, this, the time horizons get broader. So we can work with past, present and future. I think that's really important here at performing, in terms of thinking, well, so this is where you're at, but you want to get there. How are you going to do it? What kind of life do you want to create from here? And I think those are very credible conversations with somebody at this level, because of the level of agency that they've got. It's like, oh, actually, I'm getting used to this idea that I can create something of a life for myself rather than life happening to me. The power at this level is, right, well then I can shape things a little bit, and to support people to do that, and to figure out, well, what do I want to do with this project called life? It's a much longer term, more existential question as well, that I think can land quite well at this level.